Chairman Smith, Ranking Member Bass, Congressman Meadows, Congressman Lowenthal, and other distinguished members of this subcommittee from cities across America. Today, some 800 of us Vietnamese Americans gather in the halls of Congress to demand human rights for the 90 million Vietnamese people in Vietnam, our loved ones, and also for the hundreds of thousands of US citizens that have been affected, that is ourselves here in America. Confiscation of land has been used by the government of Vietnam as a tool for corruption and also to repress the independent churches. However, it's a little known fact that over the past 38 years, the Vietnamese government has also violated the rights and interests of US citizens by illegally confiscating land, real estate, and other properties of up to 500,000 US citizens of Vietnamese origin. We estimate the total amount of compensations owed by the Vietnamese government to be between 50 to 100 billion US dollars. Many of the victims, all of them US citizens, are here in the audience. In 1975 and ensuing years, the communist government of Vietnam occupied land and homes left vacant by those who left the country in the face of persecution. However, the government only nationalized these lands and homes in November 2003 under a resolution already mentioned by Congressman Cao. But by that time, some 600,000 Vietnamese refugees in the US had already become naturalized US citizens. So essentially, that new law, that resolution, nationalized the properties of US citizens. This confiscation of the properties of US citizens continues to this day. For example, the same case of Con Dao, referred to by Congressman Cao, in Da Nang City, the government has used force to evict the parishioners in order to take over their lands and homes, some of which belong to US citizens through inheritance. Right at this moment, as we speak, government workers escorted by the police are about to bulldoze the ancestral home that belonged to Vietnamese Americans present in this audience. And I have here a picture of the bulldozer escorted by the police, right now, right in Vietnam. With the chairman's permission, I also would like to include for the hearings congressional record the report by the Association of Con Dao Parishioners that has been submitted to the UN Human Rights Council for the UPR review of Vietnam.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. US laws are very clear towards a foreign government that confiscates the properties of US citizens. The Federal Claims Settlement Commission has the responsibility to adjudicate claims of US citizens against foreign governments. The Foreign Assistance Act stipulates that the President shall suspend all assistance to a country, the government of which has appropriated the properties of US citizens. And the US government shall vote against loans to that government from international financial institutions such as the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. And the Trade Act, already mentioned by Congressman Cao, bars the US President from according GSP to a foreign government that has nationalized, expropriated, or otherwise seized properties of US citizens or corporations. I have personally helped numerous Vietnamese Americans, including my own parents, to write to the State Department's Legal Advisor's Office. In response, this office has provided a list of law offices in Vietnam and told claimants to contact and hire an attorney in Vietnam to help pursue any rights and remedies that you may have with regard to your property under domestic law in the local jurisdiction. We expected a lot more from our own government. I have also helped these same Vietnamese Americans to write to the U.S. Trade Representative asking him to include compensations for confiscated properties of U.S. citizens as part of the ongoing trade negotiations with Vietnam, including the TPP. According to the USTR's response, again verbatim, the United States has a broad and multifaceted relationship with Vietnam. Vietnam's participation with us on a range of trade initiatives creates significant new opportunities for U.S. exporters. No mention about the properties of thousands, tens of thousands, and potentially hundreds of thousands of U.S. citizens that have been confiscated illegally by the Vietnamese government. And last August, our organization, BPSOS, launched an online petition using the White House's We the People website, calling on our own president to defend the rights and properties of U.S. citizens of Vietnamese origin. No response so far, after 10 months. It is understandable why our administration has not taken any interest in defending the rights and properties of U.S. citizens of Vietnamese origin. Doing so might derail its policy of strategic engagement with the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. I therefore would like to call on Congress through this subcommittee to number one, request that the USTR includes immediately in the TPP negotiations with Vietnam our government's demand that the Vietnamese government must first agree to pay compensations for all affected U.S. citizens, including those of Vietnamese origin. To request that the legal advisor's office at the State Department to espouse the claims of U.S. citizens against the Vietnamese government, to negotiate with that government terms of settlement, and demand the suspension of all land expropriations from now on, at least temporarily, throughout the country until a process is in place to ensure that no properties of U.S. citizens would be further expropriated without due and fair compensations. We call on the President to immediately suspend all assistance to Vietnam pending the results of such negotiations. We also call on Congress to authorize the U.S. Federal Claims Settlement Commission to start adjudicating claims by Vietnamese Americans against the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And finally, to commission the GAO, the General Accountability Office, to study the different forms of confiscation of properties employed by the Vietnamese government over the past 38 years, and also to assess their respective impacts on U.S. citizens. Thank you.